Couple of national predictions are flowing in for Tennessee in the transfer portal. Who could be next? It is fast, it is furious, and it is not slowing down.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into it, your Tuesday morning Locked On Vols. I am your host, Eric Cain, a member of the VolQuest.com team here in town covering your Tennessee Volunteers. Fast and furious, busy show coming up. It's a busy time with transfer portal talk, and over the first couple of segments, we're going to reset the field. Who were some names who have been on campus? Who were some names that are expected to be on campus? And what are some of the national reporters and some of the guys that are the biggest insiders in regarding Tennessee football, specifically recruiting and everything else, like Austin Price, my colleague at VolQuest.com. What are they saying about some of these guys in regards to Tennessee? That's coming up here in segment 1 and 2. Some of this will be rinse and repeat from yesterday, but again, there's a lot of chaos happening right now, right? It's this guy's coming to campus this day. No, it's that day. No, he's out of the picture. He committed to this guy. He committed to this program. There's a lot going on, so just trying to reset the board as best I can. And as you guys know, again, I record this the day before. I release it at midnight so you guys can have it for your commute to work the next morning or whatever that is. And sometimes it's outdated. Sometimes you can't avoid that. If it's too outdated, like it was a couple of times last week, I'll record a bonus show and release it later in the night and push this to 7 or 8 in the morning. But I try to do my best to stay as in date as possible, but things change a mile a minute is what I'm trying to say. So if something you hear is a bit outdated, I do apologize. That's just kind of the nature of the beast at points in time. We are a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every single day, the #1 sports podcasting network available, and it's going to be a big year in 2026, and Tennessee's hoping for a big year on the gridiron in 2026 as well, and all that starts in assembling the roster and solidifying your roster via the transfer portal, and that's kind of where we are right now. Pete Nakos, a national reporter for On3, has logged 2 expert predictions. This happened on Monday, one of which for offensive tackle Ori Williams, formerly of LSU, and another running back Zylan Perry from Louisiana Lafayette. He predicted those 2 guys to land at Tennessee. Austin Price has had a lot of good things to say at VolQuest.com. Again, my colleague on Ori Williams specifically at the time of this recording. So those are expert predictions. Those don't always go out and land. Sometimes they change, and that's just kind of the nature of the beast. But it looks like Tennessee, at least at the time of this recording, is in really good shape, especially with Ori Williams. And you kind of look deeper into who Ori Williams is, and we talked about him a little bit on yesterday's show. He's a reserve backup tackle for LSU, and if Tennessee were to land Williams and get that across the finish line, he was on campus this past weekend. I think his visit wrapped up on Monday. He's a guy that could really contend to be the starting right tackle for Tennessee. Obviously, Lance Hurd left the program. His backup, Bennett Warren, left the program. David Sanders will flip over to left, and he was going to do that anyway. And you could slide Jesse Perry out. I thought Jesse Perry, in my opinion, played better at right tackle than he did at right guard this year. That doesn't mean that he's not a good right guard, and that doesn't mean that for the sake of Tennessee, he's better inside. I think that's how Tennessee views it, because if you do land a guy like Ori Williams, well, he's going to have every opportunity to go win that job at right tackle. That would mean Perry's at guard, and that could probably strengthen your entire offensive line more than not. So, we'll see if Tennessee can get this one done. But a little bit of background on Ori Williams. Played in 12 games this year for LSU, 4 on the offensive side of the football. In 2 Southeastern Conference games, he got extensive run, 32 snaps against Alabama, 74 snaps against Arkansas. He also logged snaps in non-conference affairs, Southeastern Louisiana, 26 snaps at left tackle, and Western Kentucky, where he logged 18 snaps at left tackle. If you remember that game, LSU barely won 13-10, which again is a big reason why Kelly was fired, or maybe he was fired before that. Can't remember. Anyway, in 92 pass blocking snaps this season, Williams has allowed no sacks, no quarterback hits, just 1 hurry. In total, he played 150 snaps this season after just 4 snaps in 1 game as a redshirt in 2024. He's 6'8", 335 pounds. So obviously he would be a guy that, if Tennessee's able to land, would be in contention to be a starting right tackle right away. And wouldn't it be kind of funny, right? The last 2 times Tennessee's gone to the transfer portal for a tackle, it's been a reserve offensive tackle from LSU to come in and be Tennessee's tackle. Lance Hurd was Tennessee's left tackle. In this scenario, if Tennessee finishes the job, it would be Ori Williams who would be the right tackle in this situation. So Pete Nakos logs an expert prediction for Ori Williams. Austin Price has had some good things to say about that as well, and he was on campus Saturday night. His visit was through Sunday, and I can't remember if he left Sunday night or if he was if he left Sunday night or if it was a Monday morning departure. The other one that Pete Nakos is predicting to Tennessee, and again, things can always change, but it's running back Zylan Perry from Louisiana Lafayette. And here's where I would caution people from just going off the deep end or having some big-time takes without any research or anything like that. Zylan Perry is a guy you probably never heard of. And I know there were some names, and Tennessee did look into some bigger name running backs in the transfer portal. Hollywood Smothers is one that comes to mind. It feels like that one's going to Alabama, formerly of NC State, and once upon a time Oklahoma State. Tennessee played against him in the opener week 2 years ago. And Tennessee poked around there a little bit and talked, but DeSean Bishop's going to be very much a part of things moving forward. We talked about the run game and how individually DeSean Bishop had a really good year. 21st Tennessee Volunteer to rush for 1,000 yards. He had three 100-yard rushing games in SEC play. Had a fourth against Vanderbilt, but a TFL towards the end of the game kind of knocked him back under 100 yards. But individually, DeSean Bishop had a good game, but good year. Overall, this is the worst rushing offense of the Heupel era, and in the regular season, in 4 non-conference games, Tennessee accumulated 44% of its rushing total. So my point is, Tennessee needs to be better on the ground as a team collectively. Now, if they would have gave the rock to DeSean Bishop more so throughout the year instead of having a three-headed monster and trying to appease this guy and that guy, maybe it's different. But overall, this is the worst rushing offense Heupel's had. So I think getting a running back, number one, you have to get a running back now because Star Thomas is out of eligibility and Peyton Lewis, of course, hit the transfer portal. You have to have a tailback. But having someone come in here and split carries with DeSean Bishop should be the goal. And Perry is a guy that comes from a split work share backfield at Louisiana Lafayette. He had in 2025, this past year, 689 yards on the ground, 8 touchdowns. He added 106 receiving yards on 16 catches. Over his 4-year career with the Ragin' Cajuns, Perry rushed for 1,659 yards, 14 touchdowns on 324 carries. He split time with teammate Bill Davis, okay? Bill Davis, the yards per carry were pretty much even. Perry, the slight of a slight edges, 5 yards per carry. Davis, 4.9. But it was Davis that had 20 more carries for an additional 84 yards. Perry held the advantage in rushing touchdowns, 8-6 on the season, so 8 rushing touchdowns to 6 for his counterpart. He had more receptions, 16-10 as well. Perry also played in 1 fewer games than Davis. He played in 12. Davis played in 13. So my point is, he's already coming from, if Tennessee were to get this one, like Pete Nakos predicts of on 3, he's already coming from a backfield in Louisiana Lafayette where he split carries. So you just jump into this one, and DeSean Bishop should lead back, and hey, that gives you ample another option there, along with DeJuan Morris, and you got to feel good, in my opinion, getting an experienced running back that's been there, that's done that, and you're adding to already a pretty solid running back. And sure, people have opinions about DeSean Bishop, and that's fine. Some think that he's really good, some think that he's a below-average tailback. He's been productive, okay, but it can get better. And I think this edition of Tennessee's able to get it to the finish line, if this is the direction you go in at running back, will make a whole lot of sense. And I think that a lot of people, if this is good and this is a commitment Tennessee racks up here in the next little bit or whenever, I think it's one that will have a lot of overreaction at first, but also one that I think would make a whole lot of sense. So anyway, those are 2 expert predictions that Pete Nakos, national reporter for On 3, one of the biggest breaking news guys in the college realm for On 3, he made those predictions for Tennessee on Monday afternoon, and we will see if those come to fruition. Got a lot more names I want to get into. Transfer portal season, it is hot, it is happening, and there's a lot of names that Tennessee has been entertaining and a lot of names that Tennessee has been hosting. We'll get into that here when we return right here on your Tuesday morning transfer portal talk of Locked On Vols. Stay tuned. Let's be real. Managing your finances can feel overwhelming. Between subscriptions you forgot about, that's me all the time, bills that keep on going, and trying to figure out where all your money actually goes each month, it's easy to feel like you're losing control. And who has time to track every transaction or hunt down every hidden fee, right? That's where Rocket Money comes in. The personal finance app that helps you take control. It finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills so you can go about growing your savings. I was shocked when Rocket Money showed me I was paying for an app that I hadn't used in literally a year and a half. It sounds irresponsible my end, but I guarantee you something's happened with you in that regard as well at one point in time. I completely forgot about it. I was just spending money I didn't know I had, and it's already saved me a whole lot of money each and every month. I love how it tracks all my subscriptions, lets me see them cancel right before the app in just a few taps. No more hunting down customer service numbers or anything like that. So let Rocket Money help you, like it's helped me, reach your financial goals faster. Join rocketmoney.com/locked-on. That's rocketmoney.com/locked-on. rocketmoney.com/locked-on today, and let them help you like they help me. Welcome back here to a Tuesday morning Locked On Vols, talking transfer portal. A lot of names out there. Tennessee's been hosting a lot of visitors, and it's a busy time. So we're trying to kind of keep track of all that as best we can here on Locked On Vols. A new name that jumps into the fold that we didn't discuss on yesterday's show. This is Kansas safety Lyrik Rawls. Lyrik Rawls is set to be on campus today for a Tuesday visit, he told me earlier on Monday, and he actually began it. This is the interesting part. He began his career at Oklahoma State, where he redshirted in 2021. What's that mean? Well, Jim Knowles, his final year in Stillwater was in 2021, that season, and it was one of the better defenses in all the Big 12 and a top 15 defense in all the country. I believe that year led the nation in sacks while he was the DC of the Cowboys at Oklahoma State. So that relationship goes back a couple of years. And so he's expected to be on campus on Tuesday. Played at Oklahoma State from 2021 through 24. Okay, he redshirted in 2021. He played in 27 games overall, then transferred to Kansas, and he'll have 1 year of eligibility remaining. Redshirted 2021, played in 2022, started the first 3 games in 23, and then got hurt. So we got a medical there. 24 at Oklahoma State, 25 at Kansas, and he would have 1 year of eligibility remaining, and we'll see if that's at Tennessee. This past year, he was second on the team for the Jayhawks with 73 tackles, had 1 TFL, 1 pickoff, 7 pass breakups. In his career, 140 tackles, 3 interceptions. Career high 632 snaps this year, according to Pro Football Focus. Had a coverage grade of or a 70.1 grade overall per PFF, which is a really, really good grade. This year, he was targeted 20 times, targeted 31 times, gave up 20 receptions for 234 yards across 319 coverage snaps. He did not allow a touchdown. So, safety help potentially. Lyrik Rawls is expected to be in visiting Tennessee on Tuesday, and that is a newer name that has popped up since last time we talked. Another name that we hadn't mentioned on yesterday's show that is expected, actually was already on campus and has already left, actually. Cornerback from Troy and Jaquez White. Jaquez White, again, wrapped up his official visits with Tennessee on Monday and is a guy that began his Division I career at Troy. That was this past year. 67 tackles, 3.5 TFLs, 1 sack, and 3 interceptions. So very productive. Just played cornerback for the Trojans. Prior to this year, the 6'1", 190-pound athlete was at Division II Washburn, where he played in 21 games, combined 76 tackles and an interception. And again, he's going to have 1 year of eligibility remaining. He played 879 snaps at corner this year for Troy. Again, a guy that's been very experienced. Jalen McMurray came from Temple. Got another Tennessee cornerback. McMurray came here as a cornerback. Come from a place like that in Troy. We'll find out. But Jaquez White, a guy that's has the experience, has been playing football for a long time, and was very productive at Troy this past year. He was on campus on Monday, had an official visit, and now he is gone. We'll see what comes of it from there. Another guy that was on a visit to Tennessee on Monday, and it is Penn State defensive lineman Xavier Gillium. Mentioned him on yesterday's show. He is an older guy, 13 games this year. He finished with 15 tackles, 2 TFLs, half a sack. He's got another year of eligibility left at least. I don't have that in front of me. I do apologize. But he arrived on campus at Tennessee on Sunday, and a guy that's been pretty productive and obviously knows how to play defensive line in the system. So he was on campus, arrived on Sunday, was here through Monday, and he's a guy that got to know Rodney Garner a lot. Got to chop it up a little bit with Chaz Coleman, who was his teammate coming off his freshman year. Chaz Coleman, who's one of the highest-rated players in all the transfer portal. He was on campus on Monday. Of course, we mentioned that. You have Coleman that went from LSU over the weekend with Lane Kiffin to Tennessee. He's leaving to go to Ohio State. It was always the perceived favorite was Ohio State. He is from Ohio. Felt like he wasn't going to get out of Baton Rouge to even get up here to Tennessee, but he did. And it feels like he's going to go to Ohio State now and then make a decision. So we'll see what Chaz Coleman does. From a numbers perspective, not very productive as a true freshman this year, but the potential and the abilities through the roof. And obviously it's a guy that has played for, Andrew A.J. Jackson, who would be his coach, and, played for Jim Knowles, who would be his defensive coordinator here. All those guys were in Penn State this past fall. So we'll see what happens with Chaz Coleman. So he's going to Ohio State next. Back to Gilliam. He was at Indiana, was here at Tennessee, and now he has plans to go to Notre Dame. And so we'll see how quickly he's going to make a decision. He told VolQuest on Monday that he'll have a decision here in the next couple of days. So those are a couple of guys who are on campus. Didn't mention another Penn State guy in safety, King Mack. King Mack expected, according to Austin Price, to be here around the middle of the week. A guy that was pretty productive. Again, his path's interesting. He signed out of high school to Penn State, and he went to Alabama in 2024, back to Penn State in 2025, and now he's in the transfer portal again. Was pretty much a reserve player for the Nittany Lions and for the Alabama Crimson Tide in 2023 and 2024. But under Jim Knowles and Anthony Poindexter, who I didn't even mention earlier, but obviously this is very relevant to a safety we're talking about in King Mack, was a big-time player this year, big-time contributor, 13 games, had 58 tackles, had an interception, had a TFL, a guy that was around the football a lot. And so he's expected to be on campus at some point this week, and that'll be interesting. Obviously, some parallels there. His safety coach is now here at Tennessee. His defensive coordinator now here at Tennessee. That is safety King Mack from Penn State. We'll see exactly when he's going to get here to Tennessee and see if Tennessee can get that one done. A couple other ones that are on the books to be scheduled to get here this week at some point in time. Adam Trick from Miami of Ohio, very productive player, has 1 year of eligibility remaining, really productive. He's supposed to be in here, I believe, today. Mateen, I practiced this before the show, and now I'm freezing up. Ibirogba. Mateen Ibirogba, the number 1 rated defensive lineman in the transfer portal from Wake Forest. Pete Nakos also predicted him to go to Texas Tech. So we'll see if he gets in here to Tennessee. He was expected, I believe, either today or tomorrow. But he's already been predicted by Pete Nakos to go to Texas Tech, which seemingly has all the money in the world. Another name to keep an eye on. I don't know if he's officially in the portal, but he said that he's going to hit the portal. There's reports out there that he will be entering the portal. So I don't know if he's officially in yet. But one to keep an eye on that, again, I think would make a whole lot of sense in terms of the parallels here would be Amare Campbell from Penn State, linebacker. Very productive player. Listen to what he did this year, or listen to what he's done in his career. Started his career at North Carolina. Didn't play an awful lot, but did make a big impact in 2023. Had a sack, had an interception to go along with 14 tackles. Sophomore season in Chapel Hill, 76 tackles, 2 pass breakups, 6.5 sacks, and a forced fumble. Really good year. Bet on yourself. He entered the transfer portal, landed at Penn State, and then he had a career year. 103 tackles for the Nittany Lions, 3 sacks and a pass breakup. So he's gotten better and better and better. He had the most sacks of his career as a sophomore in 2024, but he had the most tackles of his career this past year with the Nittany Lions at Penn State. So when he's officially in the transfer portal, I could see him as being a guy that comes to Tennessee and takes a visit. And obviously, there's some familiarity there. Jim Knowles, again, we'll talk about that here in a moment. That's a guy in terms of a linebacker would make a whole lot of sense. Another interesting note here on Campbell. He led Penn State in tackles by 29. The next closest tackle getter was nearly 30 tackles shy of where Campbell was. It's pretty remarkable. Say Tennessee does get Xavier Gillium on the front, or Chaz Coleman, which, again, is a high priority. What if Tennessee does get Amare Campbell at linebacker? What if Tennessee does get King Mack at safety? You look at the familiarity of this defense now, and again, Penn State Vols, maybe, and that's not such a bad thing. Again, Penn State wasn't breaking any records this year, but again, if you had just a comparable defense whatsoever, who knows? You win at least another game. Maybe you're in the playoff. I don't know, shoulda, coulda, wouldas. We're not playing that game, but if you were just a little bit, if you were what Penn State was defensively this year, you are in the playoff. I'll say that. But there could be a lot of guys that come over potentially to work with these coaches to help in the transition to a new defensive scheme. I mean, again, we're talking about Andrew A.J. Jackson coaching the Leos, right? Could they get Chaz Coleman? A tall task. Could they land Xavier Gilliam potentially on the front? Jim Knowles is a linebacker coach. He's the defensive coordinator, walk around D.C., but he's a linebackers coach. If you brought in Amare Campbell, there's obviously some relationships there. Anthony Poindexter's your safeties coach, defensive backs coach. What if you land King Mack? Again, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying Tennessee's going to land all these guys, but if you do, it would certainly help in that transition. And it would kind of help accelerate your number one in the Jim Knowles system where everybody seemingly is just terrified of. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But those are the names. I don't think I've left anybody out. If I have, I do apologize. But those are the names that Tennessee is involved with right now, and there will be more as the days move along. I can promise you that. All right, when we come back, we'll answer your mailbag questions. Some pretty good ones in there. We'll work us through as many as we can right here on your Tuesday morning Locked On Vols. All right, guys, let's jump into your mailbag questions. We've got a couple minutes left here on Tuesday's Locked On Vols. Again, everydayers, thank you so much for submitting questions and getting involved in the show. We'll start for Vols Muse, and interesting because nobody has – I haven't talked about quarterback, and everybody's – again, quarterback always dominates everything, but Tennessee has all it needs, right? But again, it's a fair question, and this is what the poster wants to know. What's the deal with quarterback position? Are we banking on Joey's return, or is there some secret thing Josh Heupel might have up his sleeve? All the above? We'll see. I mean, I would never bank on Joey Aguilar's return, but there is some optimism that they could be resolved in the next week. I'm not saying he'll win it, but there's some optimism that we'll know something in the next week in terms of yay or nay. I mean, even if it's nay, it's like, okay, you definitely are not going to have Joey Aguilar go find somebody. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. You're not banking on Joey Aguilar. You take him if he's eligible, right? And if he wants to come back, you take him, in my opinion. Josh Hoover's committed somewhere. I think that was Indiana, right? Sorsby's obviously going to Texas Tech. You've got Sam Leavitt, who, did he commit to Kentucky, or am I making that up? Somebody went to Kentucky. Cutter Boley went to Arizona State, so maybe that wasn't a trade right there. But nonetheless, let me find that. Sam Leavitt, Louisville? Hold on. Here we go. He committed to. No, he hadn't committed yet. Excuse me. Okay, so he's about to visit LSU. Visited Kentucky. So Sam Leavitt hasn't committed yet at the time of this recording. I could be wrong here. Again, it's a mile a minute. But anyway, my point is, everybody wanted Brendan Sorsby, and there's a connection there. His parents live here in Knoxville. His sister and brother-in-law work and coach here in Knoxville, and I understand that. Tennessee was never paying $5 million for a quarterback. He's going to Texas Tech for a reported $5 million, right, or somewhere around there. Sam Leavitt's going to be expensive. Tennessee has talked to Sam Leavitt. There's a relationship there, but he's not lined up a visit here. He's gone to Kentucky, going to LSU. I mean, he's not visiting here as of now, okay? Josh Hoover, everybody liked Josh Hoover, right? I mean, he's off the table. I mean, these are the top quarterbacks in the transfer portal. They're all going to command a crap ton of money. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying, in my opinion, I don't think the quarterback market's worth the money it's demanding right now. Got to have a quarterback. not saying Tennessee won't take a quarterback, but Tennessee will take a quarterback. Obviously, I mean, unless Joey wins his case and they know something next week. But there's not a whole lot of traction on the quarterback market right now. And I know that can be frustrating. You don't want to bank on it, but Joey Aguilar potentially still an option. A lot of chatter about Ty Simpson out there, and if he doesn't go pro, maybe he'll enter the transfer portal, and it'll be between Oregon and Tennessee, and there's a lot of chatter out there. Again, like, the quarterback market is so weak this year. Teams are so desperate for a quarterback, though. We see it every year. I don't see Ty Simpson being out of the first round, and I think he's going to be drafted in the first round, and he's going to get that feedback, and he's going to go pro. But again, he's not even in the transfer portal. So until he says, I'm not going pro, and until he enters the transfer portal, that's not a realistic possibility, in my opinion. So you can't bank on Aguilar, can't bank on Ty Simpson dreams. What's going on? Well, I mean, they're going to take a quarterback. So Josh Heupel's evaluating, and there's a lot of value in Group of 5, in my opinion. I haven't heard any names yet. Again, I know a lot of this is not what you guys want to hear, but again, I'm not sorry Brandon Sorsby's gone to Texas Tech. Great player. I think he'd be a great fit in the system. It would have been irresponsible, in my opinion, to pay $5 million for a quarterback. That's just me. That's my opinion. I've been wrong before. You guys tell me that all the time. So it's okay. So to answer your question, nothing right now, at least to my knowledge, and you know, that can change again. And there's probably evaluations and conversations that we don't know about right now, but there's not been a quarterback lined up to visit campus that we know of to this point. Let's go to fire Josh Heupel. Okay. Why can't Heupel recruit as good as Indiana in the portal? Interesting. Indiana's strategy is go get old guys, and it's working. And they have one of the oldest rosters in all of college football. Tennessee had one of the youngest roster in the SEC. That's fine if you retain talent. Tennessee retained some and played a lot this year, and it worked out on the offensive end. But in this day and age, you're not retaining as much as your signing classes as you're used to. I like the strategy of going to get old guys. That's what Rick Barnes does in the portal. He goes and gets old guys. It's a roster reset every year. It's easier in basketball. I recognize that. But that's kind of Indiana's strategy, and it's worked out. So we'll see. I mean, Heupel's not done bad in the portal. The portal's been very good at Tennessee over the years. Think about all the success stories in the transfer portal. We'll have a show on that at some point this week. Tennessee's had a lot of success stories in the transfer portal. But yeah, Indiana's hit on a quarterback, and he won the Heisman this year. Indiana's playing for a spot in the national championship. Brian Anderson, why no trick plays outside of a halfback pass to Princeton Fanton in a blowout game years ago in 2022 against UT Martin? Hello. I cannot recall a single trick play or a fake kick, even when our punter had the third best arm on the team. I think if Heupel is going to do a trick play, like he's just going to, I think if Heupel wants to go for it, he's going to put his offense out there because he thinks that that's the best chance to get it. Now, Jackson Ross is an incredible athlete. I'm not saying he should throw a bomb or anything, haymakers, you know, but like he's an athlete. I'm surprised that we haven't seen a fake punt at some point over the 3 years he's been Tennessee's punter. Not to say that can't come next year. I don't know. I mean, fake punts to me like work when you least expect it. Like if you're in no man's land, like there's no reason to run a fake punt because your defense should probably be out there and you're in punt safe. Like with your defense out there, like a fake punt comes when you're on your own side of the 50, right? Like on your 40, like you have a lot to lose. That's why it's so effective because you don't see it coming. And I don't know, hadn't seen that happen in terms of a fake punt or, you know, I think Heupel has enough faith in his offense to go out there and do it and don't want to try any trickeration. I'm not against trickeration, but certainly I don't think the staff really values it at all. Jared, should Heupel cut ties with Ellerby because he can't develop his guys out of the high school ranks and simply pulls ready-made guys from the portal to fill those starting spots? Seems like he's not an overall effective developer. Am I wrong? Isn't that why Martinez was released? I mean, you can make the case that Willie Martinez developed Jermon McCoy, first-round draft pick. Ricky Gibson, not here, obviously, but turned into a pretty good cornerback. We know that the guys he's put in the NFL, but to your point, yeah, I mean, Willie Martinez is no longer part of the staff. Ellerby started and is currently developing David Sanders. He has started and is currently developing Jesse Perry, which is a great story. He is starting and currently developing Sham Umarov. Before those guys, there was nobody from the high school ranks, so I hear you. I do. You took what was left over from Pruitt's staff and you went and you added via the transfer portal with the Lance Hurds and the Andre Carricks and the Gerald Mincies and the couple more as well. So you're not going to hit on all of them, but you do need a higher rates from those high school lineman, in my opinion, for sure. So, cut odds at Ellerbe, I think those two guys are tied at the hip, and it would be very surprising to me to see Josh Heupel without Glenn Ellerbe at this stage in his career, in my opinion. A couple more here. I know we're running out of time. Randy, rewatched the Monday Night Chat, the Music City Bowl. It seemed to me that T-Lander was always chasing the play and never really blowing up the play. Love the guy's effort and dedication, but I can see him getting passed up on the depth chart under Jim Knowles. What say you? Yeah, T-Lander's going to play, but guys like Jaden Perlotti need snaps. Edwin Spillman needs snaps. You would love to see Jaden Harmon take another step, and some of these freshmen, Braden Rouse, TJ White, to come in here and really hit the ground running. So, yeah, Jeremiah T-Lander should play, but he should not dominate the snap count whatsoever. That's the issue that Tennessee's gotten into the safety position, in my opinion. John, what's the vibe on Ricky Gibson? Any chance he stays a Rocky Top? Haven't heard anything since it's into the portal, to be honest with you. We'll let you know if that changes. Jared again, was the underperformance at the Leo position this year due to the absence of Eckler, Chop's promotion from analyst to coach, or the talent in the room in general? I think Joshua Joseph played the last half of the season hurt. I think Caleb Herring was so incredibly inconsistent. And Jordan Ross, I feel like, he played a lot of snaps, but he was kind of inconsistent as well. Just a lot of inconsistency in that room. And your leader, Joshua Josephs, who had a great start to the season, but ultimately, ran into some injuries. And I think that really, really hurt him the back half of the year. 10 Vols. Can you rank by importance the top 5 positions you believe Tennessee needs to address in the transfer portal? Number 1, safety. Number 2, it depends. If Joey loses his case, number 1, quarterback. Number 2, safety. Let's go on the assumption that Joey lost his case. Number one, quarterback, in my opinion, because you're probably looking for a starter or at least to come in here and compete. Number 2, safety. Number 3, defensive line. Number 4, edge. Number 5, I guess you need a tackle. So I guess offensive tackle. Again, defensive line, you need an edge, you need interior. Safety, you need a nickel back, but it's going to be a safety body. So, safety's up there. Defensive line is up there. Quarterback, because you might need a starter, is up there. Everything else is below. Need a running back, need a tackle, need a linebacker. But that's not even the same area code as safety, defensive line, and probably quarterback. In terms of, you are getting again, Joey's off the table right now. We're working under that assumption. You are bringing in a quarterback no matter what. So, again, a chance to be your starter or at least come in here and compete at the very minimum. Last question is going to go to Tyler. Will we still need a quarterback this year had Nico stayed this past season? I believe he stayed and had a good year. He's NFL bound. I also think Merck leaves still. Have we set ourselves up for a transfer quarterback to come in to lose a high school quarterback? I don't see G Mack or Faison sitting long. That's the thing you got to balance this year or this era. Guys don't want to come in and wait. Even Dante Moore, right? He was a transfer to Oregon, but he went in and at least waited a year and now behind Dylan Gabriel, and he's going to be one of the top quarterbacks drafted. He's going to be a true success story from that 2023 quarterback class that, man, Arch is the only one that didn't transfer of the upper echelon 5 stars. Pretty remarkable when you think about it. To answer your question, if Nico would have stayed, the plan was for Nico to play 3 years, redshirt, play 2 years, go to the league. I don't know if he would have been good enough to go to the league. I think he would have taken a step. I was a believer in that. If he would have had a good year, I think he's NFL bound. So regardless, he would have gotten a big time money either from the NFL or from Tennessee to stay. So maybe he would have left. It would just been a year later. I don't know. But in terms of balancing high school quarterback, portal quarterback, or highly rated high school quarterback and mid-rated high school quarterback, that's a balancing act all the coaches have to do nowadays. And, well, that's why you get paid $9 million, right? And we don't. You got to make those decisions and make the right call. All right. Appreciate you guys, as always, for being here. Thanks so much for making Locked On Vols your morning listen, your first watch, a part of your morning routine each and every single morning. Locked On Vols, part of Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcasting network available every dayers. Could not do this without you. We will continue to give you updates on the ever-evolving transfer portal. What's the latest tomorrow? We'll discuss right here on Locked On Vols.